Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Jacksonville Buzz. And we're continuing in the second of a series of 3 with Dr. Kalpana Sundar. This time we're talking about self-interest. Welcome again, Dr. Sundar.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me why self-care is important.
Well, self-care is one of these things that I used to think was about having a bubble bath and going to wine nights with my friends. And so I didn't understand the importance. Bottom line is when we take better care of ourselves, we're actually able to give more to the people that we love. We can give more back to society and so many other things.
So it's not a bubble bath and wine with your friends?
No. So shocking to me.
So what demands on women make it more challenging for them to practice self-care?
So society tends to view things with women a little differently sometimes than with men, and women we view things differently as well. So because we tend to be a little more of natural caregivers, and this doesn't apply to everybody, so I hate to make generalizations, but most of us, I think most women tend to be caretakers. We take care of our children. Often we're involved in taking care of our aging parents, our friends if they need us and whatnot. So it's kind of a double-edged sword because it makes us great clinicians as far as medicine goes, great nurses, great physicians, great nurse practitioners and whatnot. But it kind of makes it hard for us to keep giving when we don't give ourselves something back in return. So then we put ourselves last and we take care of everybody else. And if there might be a little bit of time at the end of the day, then we take care of ourselves.
So what are some great examples of actually self-care?
Well, depending on what you read, there's a lot more self-care activities than you think, and it doesn't involve just bubble baths and whatnot. So first of all, there's like social self-care where you actually nurture relationships with other people, spouses, children, friends, whatnot. Physical self-care, where you make it a point to be healthy, engage in activities that improve your health and well-being. There's emotional self-care, where you reflect, think about, and process all the emotions that you're having. There's practical self-care, things like making a budget, making sure things are clean, making sure things are organized. Professional self-care, where you're constantly working on your mind and your profession. So there's so many different things that it almost seems hard to fit it all into one lifetime, doesn't it?
Exactly. And are there mentors for this? Are there people that you can go to help you learn self-care? Because I'm sure it's not an easy thing to do to focus on yourself and to look after yourself, because it's a natural thing, as you mentioned, for women to care for others. Men too, but it's a natural thing. You care for others. You don't care about yourself. You're the last person. So is there someone you can go to, or are there good websites that you can go to look about how do I go about looking after myself?
Well, it's tough because I did actually research that, and there's not really a lot out there. There's definitely, there's a lot of research on what types of self-care and what it involves, but how to really guide someone to that process is definitely a much harder thing. I haven't found a whole lot on that, but I think the first thing to start with is understanding that you are important. So just thinking about ways that you contribute and how wonderful you are, having that self-worth to make yourself a priority, I would say is number one and of paramount importance. And then secondly, there are professional coaches that can help women guide them through a process of better self-care. So it's probably a multitude of things that we would need. I think also talking to friends and family members on how they do self-care. The problem is that not a lot of people really are doing probably as much as they need to.
Do you think that there's a bit of a stigma if a woman sort of asks for help almost? Do you think she's looked on as perhaps not capable of doing it? So, oh, you want some help? Oh, it's like you need therapy. You need a life coach. Right. All these things. How can you make somebody understand that they are important and not to worry about what other people think?
Well, that's a lifelong journey in and of itself. It really takes quite a bit of time. I mean, I would say that I'm closer to that than I ever have been, but it's a really difficult thing because there are all those stigmas. You know, if you get help because you need therapy because maybe you don't feel like you're worth it, or if you need a coach to help you get to a different direction, it feels like you're saying you're not capable.
Sure.
And the reality is that we all are capable, but we are also vulnerable.
Yeah.
And we need help, and we need to embrace that vulnerability. It's something I personally am working on. And I do ask for help.
Yeah.
And this has been a hard thing for me to be able to do. But when I need help, I actually go ask for it. I also see a coach, and I have seen therapists in the past. And I feel that all of those things have helped me get to where I am.
Where you are.
And it's important because now I spend more time in self-care than I ever have. And I feel better than I ever have. And then what happens then? Now I can give back. I'm a better mother. I'm a better friend. I'm a better coach. I'm a better person. So all of that translates into a better effect onto society, really, in general. So for the ones who want to keep giving, maybe if we just look at it in that way, it might help us.
Dr. Sundar, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And keep tuned because we will have part 3 in the Dr. Sundar series coming up soon. Bye for now.